I'm an Allosaurus running up to you, I could run up and go like this and hook my claws in, pull you in close, and then the mouth starts coming in.
That's a woolly mammoth. And I just got an email response from a real paleontologist. T-Rexcellent on Twitter. Ethan Storrer, T-Rex, paleontologist, expert.
Right here, that's my lizard Tyra. She's a bearded dragon. This whole exhibit I built. It's themed around the Jurassic Park Visitor Center. So it's got the big stairs. It has the sauropod and the T-Rex skeleton. And then I think she knocked it off, but somewhere in here is the little tiny like plastic raptor toy that went right here. So it was like at the end of the movie when the T-Rex throws the raptor at the skeleton, and then we got the banner that falls down at the very end. And then I have the gates on the front of the glass. And so when you shut it, she's pretty easygoing, cool lizard. You know, obviously she's more functionally related to a dinosaur than us. She's not like a bird or even a crocodile. Going into the rules of phylogeny, we are fish. Because the original organisms that came out onto land and became vertebrates were fish. I call it the March of T-Rexes because I specialize in Tyrannosaurus. I try and get every T-Rex I can. This is a baby Ceratosaurus skull. Ceratosaurus is one of my favorite dinosaurs. It's a horned carnivorous dinosaur. This is the only large carnivorous dinosaur known to have a horn on its nose. If you found out about me from Clayton, you know that I designed the Battle at Big Rock Allosaurus. That's actually one of the specimens I used to design it, along with the specimen out in my living room. I have a little Battle at Big Rock like shrine, like my actual concept art that was used for it, that I put up on the wall, and then I have posters signed by the director and everything. And because in the next movie, I know they're going for like, all of a sudden you hear about someone who got attacked by a buffalo or a mountain lion, but now it's going to be amped up to 11. You could run into your trailer to get away from an Allosaurus. It's just going to rip apart your trailer and go after you. Then these are pteranodons. Mark Whitten did this amazing piece of paleo art of a Quetzalcoatlus walking through the fog, and it looks like an alien, like this long neck and this huge head.
And that kind of wing-like
and the thing, like just like in Jurassic Park 3 when you see it walking down the thing, like it's creepy as hell. Knowing that you are exactly what that animal would eat. That would be the animal more than anything. Alongside those and the raptors would be the two that I would be like most avoiding. Yeah, it does look pretty small, but no, it's about 4 feet tall. Yeah, I love how birdy it is too. This is the new villain right here.
Is that a Montosaurus?
That's Iguanodon.
Oh, Iguanodon.
But see this, like T-Rex would have mopped the floor with it, realistically.
And but that's because you're a T-Rex fan.
Oh no, I have the science to back that up, but. That bite force.
That's the backstory of the
T-Rex.
Amber.
And that's why it's going to be a grudge match 65 million years later. That T-Rex isn't going to be happy about what happened.
This movie's not going to be so sick.
I love that title card too.
65 million years later.
Like that's the biggest like time span I think a movie has ever done. Like 65 million years later. The Jurassic Park T-Rex is pop culture's best T-Rex. It's very close to even the modern day interpretation of Tyrannosaurus. And everything is shot from a low angle, so even though the T-Rex is about properly sized, it gives you the sense of how massive it is. Like that is so cool.
Dun, dun, dun. And there's the skull in real life.
Yep. This is a Smilodon skull, aka the saber-tooth. Technically not a tiger, but a panther. This guy died out only about 11,000 years ago. Very young compared to dinosaurs. I love the saber-toothed big cat. This is, I call it the March of T-Rexes.
Oh,
This is just a bunch of like notable Tyrannosaur figures that I've come across throughout the years because I specialize in Tyrannosaurus. So like I try and get every T-Rex I can.
Yeah, any of them with lips?
This back one covered in feathers, he technically has lips. He just has his mouth open so you can't see. This is a cast of an Allosaurus hand claw. Very powerful predators. And that just shows how big Allosaurus's claws were, especially with 3 of those digging into you. But that is a real chunk of Triceratops horn. I think that's a really cool piece. You can see the veins. Again, that's to feed keratin growth. Triceratops has very similar bone cores to modern day mammals with ox, bison. But the thing is we always see Triceratops with kind of just smooth horns.
Yeah.
But if you look at those guys, they have all kinds of crazy horn structures. And so Triceratops totally could have had that going on. That one was designed by an actual paleontologist too, that whole set. So those dinosaurs are really shockingly accurate for being made of Lego. My girlfriend just got me for Christmas that huge Jurassic Park Lego set with the gates and the big T-Rex. And then this is a real duck-billed dinosaur, probably a Montosaurus toe claw.
Wait, which one's the bottom of the toe?
The bottom of the toe is right here. This is a real megalodon tooth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. When I saw the size of the megalodon versus the mosasaurus, I didn't understand how huge it was.
And then that's a mosasaur tooth, so you can compare.
Oh,
And granted,
yeah.
completely different tooth structures. Mosasaurus technically probably had a bigger head than megalodon,
Yeah.
but just built for very, very different types of biting. This is a Suchomimus tooth, which is a spinosaur from Africa. This is a cast of a Torvosaurus tooth, which was the only predator of the Jurassic bigger than Allosaurus. That is Sarcosuchus and Dinosuchus.
Okay.
And so Sarcosuchus looked more like a gharial. It had a more like skinny, elongated jaw, while Dinosuchus looked like a crocodile or an alligator, like very U-shaped, broad skull.
Cool.
As a thank you for coming over.
Oh,
These are real chunks of authentic T-Rex bone.
what?
Yeah.
And you're...
That's this is real T-Rex bone. It's from the femur that
That's
broke open. So,
crazy. Real T-Rex bone. That is so cool.
that's the inside of the femur.
And you're saying we can keep this?
Yeah, it's for you guys.
This is...
Yeah, one for each of you. So
Wow. Thanks, man.
yeah, of course.
I appreciate that. Cool. We'll definitely treasure these.
The tip of a real T-Rex tooth. These are the hottest fossils in the world right now. They are selling like crazy. This is a really cool tooth because it's actually pathological, which means it has some sort of injury or something going on with it. If you look at the front of the tooth, you can see the serrations leading up, and all of a sudden they split into a Y. It's called a Y-shaped carina, and that basically means that either it's a mutation in the tooth or the tooth actually cracked and then healed and the serrations split into two.
Okay.
So that's a really rare type of tooth right there. This is basically ancient, like 350 million year old sand that was struck by lightning, and it melted the sand down underneath the strike into the shape of the lightning. So that is like a petrified lightning bolt right there.
Whoa. Did you know that existed?
This is a juvenile T-Rex endocast, which means it is a cast of the brain. T-Rex is actually a much smarter carnivore than a lot of the other ones. It has a much larger brain to body size ratio than things like Giganotosaurus or Carcharodontosaurus or Spinosaurus. Wow. And so, yeah, go ahead. So how they get those is they basically get the brain case.
Compared to my head, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Well, and the adults,
also...
the adults technically have a bigger brain than we do. And so T-Rex could sight and scent prey from up to 10 miles away. That's the hallux. It's for pinning down prey. It's for holding on to things. It's they're in pretty much every theropod. So some people think it went like that. This would also go farther back in that reconstruction. And so like an eagle talon, or like this where it's an extra thumb.
Okay.
So it could help pin prey. Wow. So these are the two statues I display alongside my T-Rex skull here, and they represent two different minds of thinking. So this is how not to draw a T-Rex right here. You notice the tail is dragging on the ground. They didn't walk like that. Their hips don't allow it. The tails are counterbalances, and they have a muscle that allows them to run. The eyes themselves are on the sides of the skull rather than facing down the snout, giving binocular vision. Arms, even they're appropriately short, but the palms face down like this. They got bunny rabbit hands, and they're also very scrawny and weak. This is a statue. It's based off of the male T-Rex from Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. That T-Rex, in my opinion, is one of the best T-Rexes in all of pop culture. So for example, we know on the end of the snout right here, this is called the nasal. And it's so bumpy and ragged because that's an attachment for a bunch of ridging and display features. So if you look at this T-Rex, he's got this awesome like mountain peak going down his snout. That is an appropriate reconstruction of what that nasal might have looked like in real life. Also, over the eyes, he's got these big angry eye frontal brows and big lacrimals. That's what creates this awesome kind of angry eye look. And then his arms, again, they're short, but they're very beefy and strong because each of T-Rex's arms could curl about 500 pounds. And a lot of people think that maybe T-Rex's arms were evolving away, but that's not the case. Carnotaurus, for example, is another meat-eating dinosaur, and it had vestigial arms. Its arms were going away. They were so small, it didn't even have elbows anymore.
So you're saying if that guy joined me at the gym, that T-Rex, full size, and he was just down to like pick up a weight and curl it, 500 pounds per
500
arm?
pounds. That's stronger than bodybuilders.
And we all make fun of all those tiny things.
I know. I mean, T-Rex could weigh potentially up to 10 tons. It's twice as much as an elephant. Also, its hands with the palms are facing towards each other. The dinosaurs can only do that. That's one of the biggest flaws in Jurassic Park is that all the dinosaurs do this all the time. This whole pronation of the wrist is the reason that dinosaurs eventually evolved flight, because this eventually leads to this.
So could they?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, this is much better for attacking. That's why they evolved this pose.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're going like this, that's not really grabbing anything. And then I'm an Allosaurus running up to you. I could run up and go like this and hook my claws in, pull you in close, and then the mouth starts coming in. If you watch Jurassic Park, it's funny because all the raptors always do this because I think it looks creepy, kind of zombie-ish, like, ooh. And then, all of a sudden, when the raptor goes to jump on someone, even in the movies, you see the wrist go like this because this is much more appropriate for grabbing onto something. So this is that T-Rex right there, the adult. And you can actually see this tooth in the skull. So if you look, that's that tooth right there that you're seeing.
Yeah.
And so you can see how far rooted into the skull that was. That's because T-Rex had the strongest bite force of, for sure, any land animal that's ever lived and potentially any animal that's ever lived. And this isn't even the biggest tooth ever found. The biggest tooth ever found was 15 inches long. All of that is built for muscles to grab on and attach to the neck so that that bite can just boom like that.
Yeah.
And the reason it's flexible is to absorb the impact. It's the same as shocks in a car. When the T-Rex would bite down, that would allow the skull to reverberate in place rather than the bone snapping. It's like the perfect predator. And it is a dinosaur that is built and evolved for killing and eating other dinosaurs. And then you guys might want to stop filming for a second because I have something I think you guys would enjoy, but I'm not allowed to talk about it yet.
Okay, yeah, let me turn everything.
This is one of the publications I was recently involved in, and I looked and you just saw all down it. And my jaw hit the ground immediately. I told my boss and he was like, all right, we're getting Carr, Holtz, we're getting everyone on the phone. And so I ended up spending the whole day documenting it, taking photos, diagramming it, whole 9 yards. And now it's in process of a publication. The publication is still waiting to come out. It's being peer reviewed right now, so I'm not allowed to talk about it on camera.
Wow.
Allosaurus tooth. Allosaurus teeth are so cool because T-Rex teeth are always brown and black and mixed in. Allosaurus teeth are like obsidian black always. Hold it in the right light. You can see the serrations running on the back. So T-Rex has a very low serration density. Allosaurus has the opposite, has a very high serration density. A lot of tiny little serrations to just shear through meat. So these are steak knife teeth. And that was actually one of the tips I sent over in an email for that short. If you watch Battle at Big Rock, you see the Allosaurus' proper wrist for the first time. Has some stuff, but kind of gives you a good visual of what Camarasaurus looked like. Camarasaurus looked very similar to Brachiosaurus. Tiny tail, big long neck. Forelimbs are longer than the hind limbs, taking off leaves and branches and stuff like that. Then that is a cast of a Camarasaurus tooth. So you can see they look like a spoon. With animals, there's always a trade-off. I can either win this fight or I can get hurt. Like you see it kind of cock its head and then immediately roar. There's an intruder here. And then all of a sudden they're just staring at each other. They both thought they were the biggest, baddest thing on the island. It's like 5 seconds and they just stare at each other. Crown jewels in my collection. This is Tinker. She's a subadult T-Rex. T-Rex aged about the same rate as us. She had one more growth spurt in her before reaching adult size. This is a pathological tooth right here, meaning that tooth is warped and broken out because of a fight. There's actually a scar up in her alveoli, and that is basically where another T-Rex grabbed her by the upper jaw and cracked it outward. So either she won or managed to get away. So you can see if you come up close, you can see that divot where that tooth was sitting when the jaws were shut. So these are the foramina. Dracula are Allosaurus jamadsoni. Not Allosaurus fragilis, which is the more commonly known species. This is actually a pretty newly named species within the genus Allosaurus, named after paleontologist Jim Madsen. I mounted my Allosaurus with his jaws clear open. I actually wanted to showcase that Allosaurus could open its jaws potentially up to close to 90 degrees. And I actually had it posed at the maximum gape an Allosaurus could do, and I had to shut the jaws a little bit because it looked cartoony and I thought people would think it was fake. This is our giant Camarasaurus. Ironically, it probably has the smallest head out of the three of them. This is Camarasaurus, really awesome dinosaur. It's also the only herbivorous skull I have on display right now. But it was by far the biggest dinosaur. The biggest specimens of this guy could get over like 55, nearly 60 feet tall. They were huge. And I mean, a single one of these animals could weigh as much as a herd of elephants. They were giant.
How about Argentinosaurus? What if it was to fight that giant Ghostbusters Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
He'd probably be a little bit shorter. He was like 150 feet long, crossing the streams, which like they said was like a nuclear bomb in the movie. So I'd have to say go with the Stay Puft Man.
How about Megalodon versus Mosasaurus?
Oh man, that's really tough. They're very adept for the same thing. I'm gonna have to go against my favorite here and probably say Megalodon has a better shot. The kind of flatter face of a shark is built for taking chunks out of bigger, rounder things. Also, Megalodon doesn't have to come up for air. Mosasaurus did. So.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
They're reptiles.